Hey guys, this is your host of Lit Literature, JP, aka The Demon. Just here for a quick intro on part 2 of The Wrinkle in Time. Sorry for the wait on this. We had lots of travel and some other crazy things going on, so I was not able to get to the editing. Not that it did any good anyway. This is part 2 of the previous episode, and the captain's audio is still quite a mess. There was quite a few glitches. If you survive through it, it's a pretty funny conversation, but again, it's one of those things that we're just going to have to get through, and we will have it corrected. Our next side project is Ready Player One. We have that corrected for that particular conversation, and I am super looking forward to that. The group has a very wide array of opinions on Ready Player One, but for now, we're talking A Wrinkle in Time. It was the book, part 1, the movie, part 2. And again, apologies for the audio. So if you could survive through that, then, I'd appreciate it. And also, don't forget, we have further episodes coming of book 2 of the Stormlight Archive, Words of Radiance. So looking forward to getting those out there as well. This is all part of the process, folks. Just going to get better every episode. And we have some new technology as well that should hopefully, not helpfully, but it will be helpful in allowing us to avoid these kind of audio issues. So anyway, back to A Wrinkle in Time. Please enjoy. Cheers. And we're live. Thank you, Director. This is Lit Literature and your host, JP, aka The Demon. And we are here with the usual crew, except the captain, who is going to join us after he stuffs his face with all kinds of glorious food.
Well, some of it might taste like sand.
It might taste like sand. It could. We just got back from the movie, as we let you know in the last part of this particular episode. And before we get into this deep and dark
discussion,
roast, we do need to make a few comments. There was some bright spots in this movie. I would like to say
mostly the bright spots from the sun.
Yeah, mostly. I would like to say that Meg did a fantastic job. Awesome for her.
Yes.
Great for her career.
Yes.
Best actress in the movie.
And
actress.
And that is as a child actor, and despite
beautiful hair,
the direction, and I'm so sorry, but the direction was bad.
It seemed like it. It's hard to know sometimes.
It is hard to know what happened. It could be production. It could be direction.
It could be producers coming in and saying, you know what, this is what we want. I have no idea, but execution was.
And we're not here to comment on that. And also, we're not here to diss anybody specifically, but we will say that Meg did a fantastic job. And then anytime that Chris Pine was on the scene, I was about to cry.
Chris Pine was next level.
He was next level acting, and I don't even know how he fucking manage that situation.
Is it okay as a straight man that out of the whole entire cast I found him the most attractive?
My mom would agree with you.
Yeah, as a straight man she would.
My mom is a straight. No, she'd agree with you no matter what you were saying. She just loves Chris Pine for some reason.
Chris Pine is a sexy man.
So anyway, I just wanted to lay that out on the ground, and so folks, we may.
Oh, there he is.
Have the captain?
He should. He's logging.
We might have the captain here.
He's logging it now. Anyway,
hang tiny bit of
I feel
tiny
like
hang.
I'm in a submarine right now.
Yeah. So during the movie, folks, I hope we got all kinds of crazy shit going. Yeah. But we can't be waiting for this. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is I thought the movie
should not have been made.
No. So before you guys go, I'm just gonna point this out. I thought that this film,
Jeff, you're gonna have a hard time.
No. Yeah, I'm not gonna have a hard time. I agree with you guys. But I do want to say that I thought that this film had a great potential to be made with great creative freedom and with great impact. And I love the casting ideas and I was just extremely disappointed with pretty much everything in it. I did love Zach Galifianakis' entry, and I'll leave that. I'll leave that out there. But
I'll say, hold on. I also want to say really quick, just because I am a film lover. I'm not a film critic, and generally I don't like to speak ill of movies because I know that it's incredibly hard to make a film. But I'm a little bit tipsy today, and this is going to be bad.
All right. So, regardless, folks, if you're listening and you love the movie,
you should just stop listening now.
Maybe stop listening.
It's not going to be good.
But we just want to give you that warning, and everybody's entitled to their opinion, and there's a lot of reasons to like it, and go for it, folks.
Maybe
we're going to probably tear it up.
hasn't chimed in yet, but maybe he loved this movie, and he can be that guy.
Yeah. I really hope he pops in. He's just like, guys, did you love it?
Did
you love it? Tell me about it.
Here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna take this back, and before we get into this, since we're waiting for the captain anyway, we're gonna go around in a circle. Everybody's got a minute max. You just gotta say a positive thing about the movie.
That's gonna be hard.
I know, seriously.
I'll start.
Hey, can we be strict
I mean,
about it?
can I say Meg and Chris Pine?
You can if you want to,
but you have to.
It's on with Cherry.
Ready, set, go.
I think there were honestly two things that I enjoyed more in the book than I did, or more in the movie than I did in the book. One of them was the transformation of the Mrs. Whatsit when Mrs.
Time out. Hold it.
I thought that was my fault.
Wait. Joss!
Whoa.
Are you alive?
Dude.
Ah!
Hey, Joss, we're filming.
Dude, Joss,
we're filming already, buddy.
I thought you were
Joss, we're
man
live,
with the red
brother.
eyes for a second.
I thought he was hotboxing.
Before we get back on to Josh and his positive things, we want to hear your overall thoughts of the film. Most of us think this might be a gigantic roast.
Yeah. What did you think?
Oh, well, certainly plenty of flaws to speak of, but I think, depending on
Andrew, stop being so nice.
the audience age range, I think that it'll appeal to really, really young audiences pretty well. Other than that, I don't know that it has a lot of relevance to a lot of other
Quick
audiences.
question on that. Do you believe that it would appeal to other audiences, younger audiences especially, that did or did not read the book? Do you think there will be a divide there?
There might be. I would say that the movie appeals more so to kids who did not read the book, in that the kids themselves are so young, they wouldn't really understand the book that well, but I think that they'd get a really big kick out of the movie. The visuals in particular were super awesome. I love the CGI that they had for like the peaceful planet with
flowers,
all the trees and stuff like that. Yeah, I thought they did a real good job with that. As far as kids looking for continuity with the book, they may be disappointed.
Okay, I agree.
Now we're good. So the reason, Captain, we are going in a circle to say something positive is there are positives, but we need to get the positive out before we start shredding it. And there is a lot of shredding that needs to be done, and it doesn't have a lot to do with Chris Pine and Meg, because they were both fantastic.
Yeah. Many of you may not know, but Demon Boy is just a peaceful warrior who wants everything to be hunky-dory.
Yeah, I wish. I will say that I teared up in every scene that Chris Pine was in, so the script couldn't ruin his roles.
I could ask Brett about that.
And Meg did a great job.
By the way, guys, sorry for calling in late. I was busy being caressed by a tentacled squid creature.
That didn't show up in the movie!
Yeah. So I see that you were off visiting the book.
Yeah, you guys have no idea how upset Josh was about this.
Josh's favorite.
That was
scene.
Josh's favorite part.
All right, folks.
Tentacles.
All right,
Now that we got Captain back in, we're going
let's go
circle
around.
positivity.
Ready?
Cherry, go 1 minute.
Go.
Go, 1 minute, go.
Okay, so the two things that I like the most about the movie over the book were first the actually that they didn't have Miss Whatsit change into a already established mythical
Yes.
historical creature with like a what was it, a Pegasus or like a griffin almost, but like a Pegasus. So they had her transform into something completely new, which is entirely different. I really like that. I also liked how they didn't go
It's
so
more like a
heavy-
centaur with wings, though.
This is my minute, Jeff. I also liked how they didn't force the angst between Meg. I thought that they did it with a very deft hand. How they had Meg be angry at her father, but still be able to kind of come to a realization without it just being like smacked in your face over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
I think they touched on it. She's like, "Where were you?" But she still was able to come to the realization quickly that kind of get the same point across without all of the 40 minutes or however long of the book.
How we doing?
Ben.
That was really good. It was about a minute. Okay, go ahead, Ben.
What I liked
jeez.
about this movie, I liked Meg's acting. I actually liked all three of the kids' acting.
Yeah.
I didn't really expect a lot of from Charles. He's 6 years old or however old he was in the movie, but I thought he played really well. You can disagree, whatever.
No, go ahead.
It's Ben's minute.
Give me a second.
I did. I literally stopped.
Don't pause it.
Ben's like, I can't think of anything else.
The visual effects were also very good in the movie. And Meg had really pretty hair. That's all I gotta say.
Guys, all right. We don't need the minute. All right. Sunshine.
Ready?
Here we go.
A couple things I liked. I liked. So it's funny because there's a lot of things I disliked about the movie compared to the book. But one of the things I did like about the movie is I liked Meg's character much more in the movie. I thought she was more relatable. I thought the book was a bit too heavy-handed with her angst and just irrationality. And I understand kids can be irrational and stuff, but it was a bit too much in the book. And I thought it was a better balance with her in the movie. I thought the actress did a much better job too, as well. I just really liked
Much better job than an imaginary person.
Than the actress in the
Exactly.
book.
In my head.
Than the actress in John's head.
Yeah, then the actress is in my head. But no. Like I don't know.
We get you.
I
I'm
feel
just
like
giving
I
you shit,
related to the movie Meg more than the book Meg.
Solid, man.
I thought she did good. And then also the other one was I much more enjoyed the scene between her and her father when they met in the cube thing that he was enveloped in.
Yeah.
I thought the book was so like they glossed over it so quickly. She's like, "Father," and then her father was like so unemotional in the book. Like he barely responded. Like, and there might have been reasons for that, but like there was I didn't feel a lot of emotion there.
Yeah.
He was just kind of like, "Meg, what's going on? Oh, glasses. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna follow you now." Yeah, and that was it. But in the movie, like, dude, Chris Pine was like, oh, like fucking making me cry and shit.
Did it make you cry?
Yeah.
I think I know the reason for that. Mainly because in the book, I think they made it clear that, or it seemed clear that he didn't know exactly how much time went by. But I think they did that same thing. Go ahead.
Oh.
I think they did that
In the
same
movie.
thing in the movie,
Yeah, they did.
but were able to bring emotion to it by him realizing how much time went by
And
then
expressions
reacting
in
to
face
that. Exactly. I thought that was
you
very well
probably
done.
couldn't
So
explain in
They
the
gave
book.
him more
things-
dialogue.
Yeah, the thing that I loved about the movie, or really liked about the movie, Meg, I thought was casted brilliantly. I wasn't as on board with a lot of the rest of the, not necessarily the casting, but I just think that a lot of the other roles, or some of the other kids' roles, were just beyond. Specifically, one role was just beyond the capabilities of almost any 6-year-old or however old he was. It's just like
They gave him
he
a
had
lot.
way too much to do, and I think
We
it's
can talk about that.
I think it's almost
Yeah.
impossible to cast that.
Absolutely.
But
Be positive in this minute.
so,
and then we'll get-
I thought Chris Pine was absolutely amazing. He was able to take a lot of the cheesy dialogue that I've been rolling my eyes at throughout the whole movie and make it actually like relatable. It was just like, oh wow, that cheesy dialogue doesn't sound as bad
Because
in his
he's
mouth.
a good actor.
Yeah, he's an amazing actor, just next level. And Meg, I thought was really, really well casted. Also, I mean, really, Meg and Chris
was
Pine
great.
were like
Meg
the
was
two
great.
things. I really liked what Josh said. I really liked what Josh said about the Pegasus creature turning into like a big thing of collard greens. That was cool too.
All right, my turn, and then captains, and then we're gonna do something else, which I think you guys will enjoy. So here's my minute. So I'm gonna take what the director was saying and agree. I always thought Chris Pine was a good actor, but I never know how good of an actor he was, and I can't wait for his future in acting in legit movies now because of
this kid's going places.
He stood out on that shit in the 3 scenes that he was in. They were the best in the entire movie by far. Yeah. By the way, that Brett bet, which we'll be talking about after this cycle. Yes. The captain knows. Good things. Good things. Meg, Chris Pine.
Meg, Chris Pine. Everyone else.
By the way, the world that they first went to, which I imagined very different, but it was a beautiful place. It was awesome.
Yeah, which I was wrong about.
I personally, when they were flying on the giant cabbage, I thought it would be cool if they actually made it a flying centaur, simply because that's on the cover of the book. But, I get it.
I thought this fit the world much better, though.
It did fit the world, but that's not the world that they describe, so,
I agree to a certain extent, but the thing is, I didn't like that.
And to be honest, I didn't mind the flying
rainbow
cabbage.
wings.
Hey.
Yeah,
rainbow wings.
I love
And
that.
to be honest, the flying cabbage looked pretty boss, and it looked fun as shit, and it had the right emotion to it. So I'm good with it. It was
definitely not cabbage, though. It's collard greens.
I will
like the veins going through it.
Stop! I got my minute.
It's over. Your minute is over. I eat collard greens every day.
All right.
I'm just saying that vegans might have had an existential
Time out.
crisis.
Captain gets his minute of positivity now. Go.
All right. First to start, I thought you guys were joking when you said that the Chris Pine scenes made you cry. But honestly, there was some serious gravitas.
That wasn't a joke, dude. He was
Chris
boss.
Pine with me.
He was awesome.
That scene where they reunited really kind of got to me, and I kind of felt it deep down.
All of us. John was crying.
I looked over at John. I'm like, John, you crying? He's like,
I said no with tears running down my face. I was literally crying. And it's funny because me and Brett just got, this isn't part of your minute, me and Brett just got done with a discussion about crying.
If he sees other people crying, he'll cry.
Yeah, I cry really easily, and Brett doesn't.
You're an empathetic soul, John.
Basically, after that, Brett turned to me. He's like, "Are you crying?" I'm like, "No," and he's like, "Okay." And I'm like, "Brett, no." He looked at me close. You are crying.
You are crying. Jokingly.
Awesome. All right.
Crying.
But yeah, no, it starts. Andrew, you're completely correct. That was ridiculously good.
Awesome. So that was awesome. I really liked Mindy Kaling's character as Mrs. Who, and I really liked Oprah. I thought she did a real good job. Getting some. I thought that she played.
Opinion.
Yeah, I thought she played her role well. The things, I'm not going to get into some of the stuff that I didn't like, but like I said earlier, the CGI world, that part was amazing.
Yeah.
I kind of liked a little bit of the intro with the school scene. I thought that was really well done, where she gets in the fight at the school, and then later, they're showing darkness, all right, that'll be the end of my minute. That was pretty much it. I was wrapping it up.
Dude, I love that. That was awesome. I love the basketball
Andrew,
face was awesome.
Captain, keep going for another 30 seconds because we interrupted you.
I know. I bet.
Interrupted him. All right.
No, keep going. What else you gotta say? Anything?
I was just gonna say I like kind of how they brought the darkness into a pre-existing state on Earth, like it's already infecting people. That was different from the books, and I thought that was, it made sense for the movie, for the overall story.
Wait,
one second.
Oh, that's actually. I thought
in the book it was
already affecting the U.S.
affecting
not the U.S. the world. Yeah.
I didn't get that feeling.
No, because they
for a
even
long
said
time.
No. Ben's completely right, guys. You don't remember the scene. You don't remember the scene where they showed them the Earth and they couldn't see the Earth very well because they had already seen the shadow, and the shadow was already somewhat over the Earth.
But still, it was headed there.
No, it wasn't headed there. It was already starting to.
They've been fighting it.
No, Jesus has been fighting it
Yeah, exactly. No,
But
that's
they did
right.
a better.
That's right.
They did a better way of showing that it's still on Earth, or that it is on Earth, than they did in the book. Because the book is like, oh, there's a shadow on the outside, but now you see this bitch, high school girl.
That's because the
She's
movie
fucking
has.
gross.
I disagree. They made it way worse in the book.
Really?
Are you kidding me?
I mean,
people were insufferable. They were horrible.
Before we continue the conversation,
This guy knows.
I would like to point out that you have a cast of characters here that have widely ranging opinions, and we are enjoying the discussion.
And some
So
opinions
now,
are more
because
liked than others.
we're enjoying the... Because now we're
Mainly mine
enjoying
and
the...
Ben's.
This is what I was waiting for, and I'm actually going to let Brett kick this off with a full extra minute. Is now we're going to talk about...
Oh, shoot.
The negative. And when
Do
I
we get
say
a minute
this,
or 2 minutes?
Brett gets 3 minutes, and then we get 2 minutes.
I don't know if I can go on a full 3-minute rant. I can complain about a lot.
I'm just joking. You get 2 minutes. You get 2 minutes. We all get 2 minutes, and then we're gonna do another
Everyone
minute of
just go with
positivity and
what-
take
go with
conversations
what-
where we go.
Say what you have to
Just do it
say. If
tomorrow.
you start going too long, we'll say something about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, we will.
Alright, that sounds good.
Deal.
'Cause I
mean-
mean, let's keep track.
Wait. Let's start with the Brett.
No,
Sorry.
I mean,
Cherry. I'll let the cherry start.
Oh, I think I would rather have a discussion about what we didn't like rather than just go in turns.
Oh, you don't want to get anything off your
wanna
chest?
be-
Can I say
Yeah.
something that's
Oh, I want to get something
say
on my
something.
chest.
All right,
Because
that's
some
fine.
people like this.
All right, so if it's off chest, then there should be time.
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
off chest,
I'll tell you what.
1
I'll tell you
minute
what.
off your chest.
Here's what we'll do. What we'll do is we'll have the discussion now. We'll get it out. We'll talk with each other, but then at the end, before we get it, we'll let everybody.
It'll already
get
be off our
it
chest by then.
Okay.
Well, I hope so. Then we won't
I think
have
off chest
anything to
first.
do.
Off chest
So we'll pick topics instead. That's a
Yeah,
better
good,
idea, right?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, that's
So,
good.
first
Everyone,
topic.
that'll be off chest. Off chest
Discuss.
All right,
Until you get-
I've got a topic.
All right, let's go.
I'll
Ready?
say this.
we go.
One thing that kind of bothered me, and like I said, I'm not commenting specifically on the actor because I think when you're that young, it's impossible to expect you to live up to the role that you had to play. But Meg's brother to me seemed
Charles
very
Wallace.
fake almost all the time. I wasn't buying any of his lines. I wasn't buying any of his moments. I was just completely out of it almost all the
I
time.
felt he did okay when he was possessed.
I did not.
I thought he was a bit like sharp, and he was just like, "No, this is what we're doing."
So
To me, it just felt like like an 8-year-old.
Hissy fit, kind of.
It felt like an 8-year-old hissy fit.
we're good.
It felt like it felt like an 8-year-old being like, okay, what do I do? It's like, oh, you are possessed, and you need to say this. What an 8-year-old would say if he was given that direction.
go ahead. Respond.
I don't think
go to circle.
that actor would have done
Yep.
a bad
Circle.
job of portraying it if he was written better.
Put it in.
I think that's.
I don't
think that's
think
good.
I don't think it was his fault.
I don't think so either. And I started off saying that.
I think that he was portrayed differently in the movie than he was in the book.
Yes.
In the book, he was possessed and mechanical, not very animated, just straight
was too
monotone.
animated.
He was too animated. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
Monotone.
possessed.
Monotone. Like he was not himself.
He kinda
it
was wandering
flat.
around.
They kept talking about how he was flat.
Pause it real quick.
You know.
By the way,
And-
guys, just to interrupt real quick, what we're doing is he picked the topic. Now we're going around in a circle to get everyone's responses for a minute.
Oh,
That wasn't a
Just
full
like-
minute. That was
I
like
thought we
20
were just
seconds.
like doing topic.
I know.
level.
That's why I said pause it or whatever.
Go ahead, John.
We're not. Okay. So
He's mechanical.
yeah, I was just saying, like he was. Yeah. His basically his demeanor was not the same as what it should have been. He was too emotional. He was supposed to.
Yeah, in the audiobook, the voice actress who did voiced his lines, she really made him very sullen and almost empty inside.
But the way that
whereas
though as well in the book.
well, that's the way they described it. But that's I didn't get that at all from the movie.
Yeah. No,
Also-
I agree.
I didn't mind his acting, like throughout the movie, except like it was just so different from the book. I feel even when he was even when he was not possessed, I thought he was too animated, too emotional. Like he was, I think he felt like really reserved and he only expressed himself around certain people. Meg.
This is true. Yeah, they even say
what's
that in
it?
the book. Yeah.
And I thought it was just like, just too emotional. And
Dude, but I
he's
think a
not
lot of
robot.
his, I don't, like I said, I mean, I started off saying this. I'm not necessarily blaming it on the actor. What I'm saying is that I think that character was given a very big disservice by the fact that I think a lot of his key scenes and key moments were taken out to the point where it's like, I don't get where you are right
It's
now.
not an acting issue, it's a writing issue.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's a writing and direction.
Like he was instantly taken over by it or whatever. He didn't even make a choice to go in. Exactly.
Yeah.
He didn't make any
I feel
choices. He was just
was really scrunched down.
yeah.
And
was, yeah.
didn't expand. He's supposed to be this like genius, pretty much.
More than a genius.
More than a genius, and he has like this special
Professor
power
Xavier.
More than that.
to like feel people's emotions, to understand what they're doing,
Yeah.
or like the basic
100%.
thoughts.
100%.
And they totally gloss over that.
Yep.
And I feel like
Yeah.
he was like one of the main leading characters in the novel. Like he was the leader, even though Meg was really important too. But he like led them to go forward.
Yeah.
And in the book, it was just like a secondary.
recording.
And in the movie, it was just a secondary character with like not a lot of importance.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. And not only that,
the
but
movie-
go ahead, Joss.
I was just gonna say, in the
Sticks out
movie,
of your
he
mouth.
held the red-eyed man's hand and like counted to 10, and then
That was it. That was it. Yeah.
possessed.
What the hell?
Yeah, that was
What the
it.
hell?
Not only that, the red
was
eyes.
And we have to
instantaneous.
complain about the Red-Eyed Man.
Oh,
we'll get
please,
to
let's
that.
complain about the
Actually,
Red-Eyed
can I do it?
Man.
Because I'm the one who started.
We don't have a lot of time. Let's go on to the Red-Eyed
okay,
Man. Please
Red-Eyed Man.
start. Please start the Red-Eyed Man.
Oh my god. I saw a screenshot of the Red Eye Man, and I'm like, what the hell? This guy is the most unique guy.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, you've ever seen. Yeah,
This
exactly.
mother guy.
Yeah, I don't know what I can
He's
say.
a mother guy.
I've been
That mother guy.
Yeah,
That puppet mother
he's all
guy.
like, I got the most hipster of mustaches and the most, I am living on a beach and I'm so fucking cool.
And his outfit
It's like the exact opposite of the book. The book's like, I'm the most sullen, like
normal.
He was so
like
siren-esque, like luring you in
extremely
with...
relaxed and
Yeah.
perfect being that's supposed to lull you into perfectness.
No,
and
everything
not wearing
is set in its
yeah,
exact spot, and
exactly.
you're gonna
Everything's
follow
perfect.
this.
And all of a sudden you're at a beach.
Yeah, and there are people like,
All right.
Yeah.
So it's like, so it was just really disappointing. It was like, wow, whoa.
why is the
that
change
was a
in
very
scenery?
big liberty that they took there with him. Way too much so. And the
I
thing
don't-
was,
I don't mind the
thing that
liberty.
Sucks. No,
don't mind the
thing
liberty
that
either,
sucks was
The choice of liberty is the problem.
I didn't like when I saw the screenshot. I'm like, well, that doesn't look right because he's supposed to be he's supposed to be green almost. Their skin's kind of supposed to be green and like almost like sickly, like very. And it's funny because the way Meg describes them is they don't have any like explicit features. They all are.
You
different.
don't want anything
They all are
defining you.
different. Based like compared to Earth, everyone's different. However, but they're the same in a
sameness.
different way.
This
They're all like really
forced
just
to be the same.
This is the thing. This is the thing, though, is that I have to say is that like because my main focus is film. I get frustrated sometimes when people that read the books start bringing up they're supposed to be this or they're supposed to be that. I don't really care about that. What bothers me is that they're supposed to be what John is saying, but what they changed them to has no benefit. No reason. It makes it worse.
And I agree.
The way
That's
that they
important.
did it.
That's an important
exactly.
distinction. I
But
agree.
it
'Cause I
doesn't
agree.
enhance it.
If you take a look at the character, the ruler of this planet is supposed to want conformity, and he's want people to be all the same and take away that individuality. And for him to walk out in this multicolored, like completely colorful outfit, and be like, "Hey, we're on a beach."
We're
And,
on a beach full of people doing their own thing.
Yeah, so I interpreted that specifically as in the world wasn't the way that it was in the book. The world that they had set up there was like a fishing hook.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it just
yeah.
changed
I mean,
to hook them in.
Well, and-
basically, yeah.
And-
That's what it was.
But in the book, that's not what it was. It was a real place with real people living there and under this conformity.
There was no
thing-
illusion.
I think
Yeah,
one thing
there
that
was
could
no
kind of
illusion.
marry this a
This
little
would,
bit
yeah.
is when they walk in and they go to the world, or they're all bouncing the balls. it dissolves, which kind of leads you to believe that this is entirely fake.
There was no little boy who was accidentally dropping his ball.
Exactly.
Yeah, what the heck?
Whereas when you look at it now in the movie, they try to push towards more that this is all a
illusion.
Exactly, an illusion. Whereas the other thing, I think it has a bit more gravity to it because this is an entire planet that's been destroyed by it. Whereas when you see it this way, you're like, they're just trying to capture these 3 kids.
You say the beach, the illusion?
Yeah, actually, I agree with Jeff. I agree with Jeff. That it was just seems much more.
The beach was the hook.
Which is really unfortunate because one of my favorite part of the whole entire book was them going through Camazotz and experiencing it.
Yeah,
I agree.
Agree.
Realizing the strangeness of it and the difference of it, and
how bad it is for the people.
The only part that they expressed in the book from that was the bouncing the ball. That was it. That was it. And then
insert giant storm fly over the wall.
Well, and it was unfortunate because you wanted to see that. You wanted to get the feel that you need to build that world, but they did not build the world at all.
Exactly. The book provided a lot more insight into, hey, these people all don't want this. There are people who are just struggling to be like, or I'm gonna something's gonna happen to me.
I don't want to go to it.
I don't want to see it. It's gonna have a terrible thing. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. Don't take me to it. I don't want to be.
I don't want to be.
I got reprogrammed. Yeah, I got reprocessed once.
But I thought that was essential in the book, and they took it away completely.
Exactly. I did not like that. And we'll move on probably to this later. I didn't like it.
I feel like most of the things that hooked me into the story, most of the things that hooked me into it and made me feel like this actually has consequences was taken out.
Exactly. I totally agree.
Yeah.
They kept everything that I didn't like and took out all of that.
All the things that I did like.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Hitman, topic.
We kind of brushed on this already, but one of my main beefs was when they walked into that town and everyone was bouncing the balls. They just showed it all at once. Everyone was bouncing the ball. They didn't actually bring it out. They should have showed one kid bouncing the ball, one kid jump roading, another kid bouncing the ball, and then they realize what's wrong with the situation.
They're all the same.
Okay.
They walked in town and they realized oh, this is creepy.
Yeah,
and you realize right away.
Fed through it.
Yeah.
I agree. I think the subtlety would have been better.
Brought out a little bit. It wouldn't have been that hard to do in the movie, just to show a clip here, and they're walking down, and then they realize this is unnatural.
What did you think about the mother who invited them in?
So weird, right?
In the movie,
It didn't fit in with the malevolent vibe that they were trying to portray with that.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, it was kind of a fishhook type thing.
Exactly.
But there was no proof that she was going to be harmful to them.
Yeah.
She's like,
She
you
seemed
look like you're hungry.
genuinely nice.
Don't you want to come inside?
But it's funny because that's the opposite.
And then and then Meg is just like, oh no, we shouldn't trust them. So then she just leaves. It's like, okay, that line didn't really need to be.
Well,
But let's trust this random guy on the beach that has this beard that's out of Wild Wild West with Will Smith.
Oh, it realized its first fishhook of creepy mom didn't work, so it had to have creepy dude on a beach. Which did work.
But it's unfortunate because the people of that town aren't supposed to be trying to catch them.
No, they want to be anonymous.
There should have been no fishhook there in the first place.
Right.
That's the problem.
I agree.
it's different than a book, and they
I
they preface it that say everything here is a test.
Yes.
And I thought that the mother inviting them in was a test, and then you gotta not go in.
But the thing was, it wasn't a test because it was a legitimate place where people lived. Those people lived there.
No. In the movie, it wasn't though.
It seemed like it was.
For me, I mean, and this is just all preference and personal preference, I should say. But to me, it would have had a much more of an impact if the mother came out, saw that they were there, out of place, and then did some type of rushed inside, which would indicate that maybe she set some type of alarm, which then started the illusion of the fish bait, of the beach scene.
That would have made sense.
But to me,
I would have loved to have seen her just unleash a banshee scream when she realizes that they don't belong there. That would be so creepy.
Yeah. All right. It was funny because it's funny because when I read the book, I think I'm not so sure that this is like really that maybe it could be written better. But then I watched the movie. I'm like, wow, the book did this so much better.
Yeah, I know.
But in this case,
And this is coming from me.
I know. No, I
rarely
folks
like
online.
to think that. I'm almost always, I'm the type of person that's always like, yeah, but you have to understand this is a movie. You can't do that because of this, this, and this. This time I'm like, why didn't they just do that? Like, it makes no sense.
The book is pretty simple.
Yeah,
it is.
Really
simple and very open.
I gotta be honest.
There's a lot
I gotta
of
be
ways
honest
of
with you
taking
guys.
it.
I was looking forward to this movie only because the book was so simple and was so abstract that I was looking forward to some artistic.
Yeah, I was thinking it was going to be enhanced.
and I was
disappointed. Yeah.
Instead,
Yeah.
we got a topic.
no.
We got a rainforest tornado.
So I got a topic for it.
Wait,
My
we'll
topic.
get back to you.
I
give you
want
mine.
to talk
My
about
topic's terrible.
how utterly useless they made
Oh
Calvin.
yes, good.
Yeah, why was he even there? Why was he even there?
In the book, he
got
had
great hair.
Topic.
actual uses. He, even though it was a bit forced, they're like, I'm gonna force Charles Wallace back, and I think I can reach him, and something's happening here. In the book, he had a
Purpose.
usefulness. In the movie, he didn't do a single thing
Time out, time out.
necessary.
Yeah, I think
He
it's a little
boosted
unfair.
He boosted Meg's
Confidence.
You know who could have done that?
I feel like he.
Charles Wallace.
I
was
feel
already
like
there.
he did
No,
some really
sometimes
good
you need a man
watching
in the book
Meg
too.
do things.
Sometimes you
You
need
need
a
a man. A man that's not your brother.
I think
He watched Meg
he
do
was
a
just,
lot of
he's-
things.
I think we can all agree that Calvin was just the romantic interest, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was the only role he served.
I think that you're gonna feed into the stereotype that
Josh,
a woman can
so
only
in
do
the
something
end-
when a man
Yeah. So in the end, a man
pushing
needs
her
a
on.
woman.
He smiled at her when she's walking up the stairs, and all of a sudden she's like, "I now have the courage to do this."
No, I don't think she even saw him.
Yeah,
I think she was looking up and he was like, oh, walking on air.
There was. I honestly think that they made his character useless.
Useless.
In the movie.
Yes.
And they could have actually had a character that was like, they chose to not have any reason to have him in that movie.
They might be setting him up, just keeping him relevant for sequels.
Later.
I don't
It could
know.
be, yeah.
But they completely took out his usefulness that was in the book.
And the way they introduced him too was horrible.
Oh, yeah.
It was like bumping him in the middle of a street. with-
Well, that's what happened in the book.
No, they were not in the street. They were like in a forest or something.
No, they were in this.
Yeah, they were in a forest or something, yeah.
Time out.
Yeah, they're
the
on the
reason
boys.
is
Because they were like really confused why he was there.
Yeah.
It was like not a place you would meet someone.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right.
The reason is because they changed the setting. The setting was on the northern East Coast, originally where there was a lot of
Modern day.
woodlands, and they changed it to L.A.
Yeah.
So like you're gonna meet him in a street
I was like, what the
because you
fuck's going
can't
on?
find a fucking forest in L.A.
You know what I thought was amazing?
You can
with the
find a
movie that-
mountain with no streets, though.
You know what I thought was the movie that
But that's not where they live.
I did
In
not,
LA,
I
everyone
did not
lives there
think
to-
it was
near there.
possible for Calvin to go from
And
norm whatever, like from 0 to liking Meg in the speed that they did in the book, but in the movie they did it so much faster.
I mean, to be fair,
in the
though,
movie they're like, I like your hair. Second line.
I mean, to
I
be
was like,
He started liking her when she shoved the ball in the other girl's face.
To be fair, though,
yeah.
I feel like that's
that
not a
bitch up.
huge downside to me because as a boy that's
I know, I'm not
like
saying it's
11
bad. I
or
just think it's
whatever,
funny.
I have been 11 in my life. You can fall in love with a girl. early.
I agree. I just thought it was funny.
It was
All right, topic done. Captain, topic.
Let's talk Reese Witherspoon and Mrs. What's It.
I thought it was going to be Mindy. I thought Mindy.
Yeah.
Mindy.
They took a very, very different approach. Namely, that Mrs. What's It was not aged, an aged like quirky crone.
She was so nice.
Reese Witherspoon made her a very young, quirky person, but she did not really start off as a staunch ally for Meg at all.
not at all.
She
She was
I mean,
almost
they
like
kind of did
opposition.
the cute. Yeah, they did the cute thing at the end where she's like, "Oh, I believed in you all along," and I was like, "Oh, that is kind of funny." Yeah. But like throughout the entire movie, she was constantly like berating Meg, like, "Why is she here? Why is Meg here? Like, did you really choose Meg to be here?" It's like, oh my god,
it's like the principal in The Office.
Yeah, exactly.
And you would think
like, that's the kind of people they're trying to fight
would
against.
Be like, okay, people can be not what you expect in your first 10 minutes of meeting them.
Explain that she was younger,
in her defense,
like
she thought that Zach Galifianakis was cute as fuck.
So he is kind of adorable right now.
The thing there,
Sorry, continue on.
Go ahead.
Between
everybody's silent now.
We got to watch an episode of Between Two Volcanoes.
But I also felt, Andrew, that Miss Whatsit was supposed to be super supportive of Meg, of Charles, and like this super caring.
She never gave her love as a gift.
Nobody gave her love. We had a Brett bet. Who gives her love? Nobody gave her love.
I felt that Miss Whatsit was one who would relate the most with the kids, but she related the least with them.
I know. Can we go back to my point that the witches are worthless?
Yeah. So
because I couldn't imagine that they would be more worthless
in the book than they were in the book.
Because in the book they didn't do shit. They were like, I'm going to tell you that you have a power, but I'm not going to tell you what the power is. And in this book, there's like, I'm not going to fucking tell you the power.
Yeah.
Just get the fuck out there. Just go.
We're going to take you home. They didn't even take Meg. They didn't even take Meg to drop her off to save her dad.
To be fair,
actually, they tried to take her home, and then Meg reversed them.
Wait. Hang on. Ben's got a good point.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
They gave us some spectacles, and then it's like, oh, you're 40 as fuck.
Hey, Meg, take these glasses. You fucking suck.
Yeah.
Go save the universe.
Here's some glasses so you can see how terrible you are, Meg.
So
that was about the feeling.
My point stands. All right. It has not been destroyed.
They kind of gave a lot of the supportiveness. It's not a word, but they kind of gave the supporting nature to Oprah's.
Yeah, Oprah.
Character.
Which
is kind of what we thought they were doing.
That was actually
she was the most ethereal.
Wait.
She was also huge.
Yes.
Does anyone agree that she was one of the fairies from Zombie?
Save it. And the reason is because that's my topic.
Oprah.
Go for it.
All right.
Oprah.
So the last topic before we talk about the Brett bets and then close this out. So my topic is Oprah. The captain liked it. I hated it. I hated Oprah.
Oprah was awesome in her role.
Listen, Oprah is an awesome person.
Oprah is awesome.
Awesome person.
I don't think it has anything to do with Oprah.
Time out.
Sorry,
Let me get my shit on.
Go ahead.
All right, Oprah, awesome person. Definitely awesome actress. I've seen that before.
Yeah, Color Purple.
Oh, Jesus. Great actress. In this, she literally just stood around with crazy gems on her eyebrows and said terrible lines.
She mainly said you need to be a warrior.
Yeah. No,
that's mainly it.
Remember when she was talking to the flowers?
Whoa, yeah.
Go help them.
Oh, that was the oh my god, it's so funny. No, Brett, please. Oh my god, thank you so much. Because that's exactly when I realized, like, is she even trying? No, that was the point. I'm not lying. And so she's all of a sudden like, she needs your help. Please go help them. It was like so short and so unenthused. I couldn't imagine.
She's supposed to be timeless, John.
Yeah.
So we talked about this a little bit.
But she's supposed to draw out her shit then. Like, did she even read the book?
I don't know.
Like, if you're gonna read
she does
the book,
have the Oprah's book club. So
you're supposed to be like drawing out your sentences
and talk like a snake.
Yeah, slivery snake. Wait.
And then she's just like,
do you have more?
That leads us to the Brett bet that I lost, but we'll get to that when we're done with this topic.
Oprah was Oprah.
Wait, let's let Captain go. He's.
Yeah, I was just gonna defend Oprah.
What prize did you get from her?
Andrew got a car from Oprah.
He subscribes to the O magazine.
Sorry.
Expectations that she would be Mrs. Whatsit and that she would completely ruin the world. Because I would not see her as like a quirky type personality. She's definitely more of the omnipotent, like
Yeah.
Wizard of Oz
Yeah,
type role.
she's way too
And
alpha.
first off, I was glad to see that they cast her as
Miss Witch?
Mrs.
Well, I thought
Yes.
she was
was
going
awesome.
to be.
I thought so. Yeah.
But I think Witch's character is supposed to be very aloof and not very domineering, not fully invested like she wants to be, but she's so ancient and corporeal that she's not fully invested. And I think that honestly, and I'm not bashing her performance at all. I think she did the character real well. I think that she really portrayed that in Witchy, which is kind of what I was expecting.
Really?
So yeah.
I didn't think so.
Here's what I personally think happened.
I thought that it was poor, but okay.
Here's kind of what I thought happened, and I don't want to speak ill of somebody that worked so hard and probably did a better job than I could, but I feel like it was a product of poor direction, potentially, because usually actors, we talked about this in the car a little bit, usually actors have the opportunity to play off and work with other actors. They get to get into the moment, work off their emotion, work off of their performance, and when you're dealing with these big budget, like special effects driven movies, you kind of have to run off of the images that the director is giving you. This is what's going to be around you. This is what you're going to be playing off of. This is what's in front of you. Everything's a green screen.
Yeah,
She's got nothing but green around her, and the director needs to put it in her mind. This is what it is. This is the moment. This is what's at stake. And I feel like potentially, I could be completely wrong. I have no idea. I wasn't there. But I feel like potentially it was maybe the director being a little bit out of her element with the green screen as well, potentially.
Yeah. Someone didn't take that and push
I know
it to
this
the level of interaction between everyone.
I know this. I've seen other movies by this director.
yeah.
I know she's a fantastic director. I'm not saying she's a bad director. I'm saying that maybe this was a little bit out of her element.
I'd like to point out that if you've ever watched behind the scenes, either Planet of the Apes or behind the scenes Avatar, the acting with literally dots all over your face and cameras on your head will literally
Nuts.
bring you to tears.
Yeah.
And that is crazy.
Well, this is why every single producer...
It's way more hard
so
than
hard.
interacting with someone else.
Every single producer and director should know that if you have green screen, you need to hire Andy Serkis because he's amazing.
Didn't
Yeah.
someone
Folks,
recently say like
we are at our limit. So what do you
All
got?
right.
One more? You going to say something?
no,
Quick
it
comment.
was just
All
about
right.
green screen.
All right, wait,
stuff.
everyone
We'll
go
talk
around
about
one
it
more
another
time.
I got one quick thing to say that's really bugged me too.
One last word.
One last comment.
20 seconds each. Ready?
Go.
Ben, you say go.
Meg's mother, I thought in the book was super supportive, like unruffable. She just took stuff in stride, like, and she was
Agreed.
totally supportive of her daughter. In the movie, I thought she kind of like shot her down a few times, and was just not the person in the book that she was.
I'm gonna go next.
Agreed.
Go ahead.
I completely take the opposite. I actually enjoyed that Meg's mother had more of a humanistic, reaction to
That's true.
losing her mother.
Less Spock-like.
Yes, because in the book, you're like, why does she not care that her husband hasn't come back in 4 years?
Yeah.
In the movie, you get a bit of like, don't talk about your father that way. There, I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So I agree with them.
Awesome.
Andrew.
Me, I'm just gonna say I sorely miss like the totalitarianism aspect of the novel, which was not present in the movie at all. We kind of covered that a little bit with the Willy Wonka Man in the red glasses. Because his darkness was not a totalitarian like threat. The whole movie didn't have a tangible like villain or threat. It was just kind of Charles Walter. That was kind of it.
Because, and this will be my comment, this is actually kind of funny because we thought that they would add a solid actual bad guy.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I was surprised that they didn't.
It wasn't a white guy, Andrew.
Yeah. I will take a shot to that.
Kind of was. A little bit.
We're gonna
there was
do
that
breakfast
flashback
after.
with the
All
two
right,
white guys.
Sunshine.
All right, it's kind of hard to explain. I didn't like the book as an adult horribly, but the thing I liked about the book was it really tried to give kids an understanding of certain concepts that they might have not have experienced before. I don't feel the movie did a great job with that. I feel like they kind of overglossed those things, and they really didn't they didn't really take the author's intentions at heart. They kind of added things that were unnecessary, and even though I wasn't a horrible huge fan of the book as an adult, as a kid I was, and I think as a kid as well, I would not have been impressed with the movie.
I agree. I feel that they kind of skimped out on some of the stuff that, like the science aspect. They didn't even have her show with the space-time. You can move the clock together, and the ant can cross.
And that was in the trailer.
And it was and honestly, I think
that was so important.
That's probably one of the most important things for the kids too.
Brett, the director.
I don't know if I have much more to add at the end. I feel like I agree with almost everything everybody has said tonight. I feel like there's a lot of shortcomings of the movie. It's one of the not rare cases, but as much as I did not enjoy the book was better. And I disagree that Oprah's performance was fantastic, but I agree that it most likely was not Oprah's fault. And because I've seen her in amazing roles before. And I don't even necessarily agree with my own thing that it was the director's fault, because I've seen her direct much better movies as well. I just feel like it's something, I don't know, something went down. Something fell flat.
JP, did you have anything to add?
All right, folks, I'm going to sum this all up, and then we're going to close this out. I really think that the true lesson of this is that there are some pros, especially Chris Pine.
Chris Pine. Everybody. Chris Pine and Meg. Chris Pine and Meg.
I agree.
Meg. What's Meg?
Actually,
somebody look up.
Yeah, I'm excited to see her in some
movies.
This
before I'm from.
Actually, no. Really quick, I want to add to mine because I only used up 15 seconds.
You got it.
I do think that the mom's performance at the end when she finally saw Chris Pine was fantastic. I thought she did a great job there, and that was one of the better moments for me in the whole movie. I was like, "Oh shoot, she's gonna see him."
I agree, though.
She's gonna see him.
I was excited.
And as soon as she saw him, I was like, "Yeah, that's a payoff."
I'll add real quickly from the beginning. I really liked the aspect that she was a bit more humanistic in the movie.
Exactly, I loved that too.
Andrew, her name is Storm Reed.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, Storm Reed and Chris Pine. And then I would like to sum this up with just kind of a quick summary, in that we don't absolutely hate the movie, but it was not awesome. And the reason that we think it wasn't awesome is because we think that they missed some very major critical points that are important to any person, including developing kids. And they missed what the author had at heart.
Yeah.
And what she was driving the characters to experience. They just kind of missed it.
Fell flat.
And I'm going to take a half a second to brag. I was right about the opening.
Now wait, we do have some
I tagged the opening completely properly.
I don't have any.
All right, and the very last thing is the Brett bet. So Brett had the intro right. I definitely agreed.
But we didn't bet on it.
We didn't.
No, it was honor system. Honor system was.
Yeah.
I thought Brett.
Brett wins, but we didn't bet on it.
It wasn't a bet.
Everyone agreed with him.
What was the other Brett? I lost.
The other Brett was: is it a brain?
Is it a brain?
That I think that the Brett bet was actually kind of ambiguous. You could say that it was a brain because it was technically the inside of a brain.
Because we bet it was not going to be like a brain on table. So everyone who said it wasn't, we lost.
I said it was gonna be a brain.
I'll take a drink. I'll take a drink.
I'll take a drink with you, John.
I'll take a drink for.
All right.
But I think.
They were inside a brain.
It was synapses, like the internal brain synapses.
But I think that I was right as well, where I said I don't think it's going to be a brain, and I don't think it's probably going to be a personification of an actual actor. I think that it's going to be something like kind of smoky and mystical and black. And I think that was right too, because they took the dark thing and kind of combined it into one character.
I think then what's the last Brett bet was
we talked about.
We did talk about the brain, and what was the other one?
There was two more. Well, we did the other one.
We did Brett's.
Oprah. It was Oprah.
Oprah was Oprah.
And I said that Oprah wasn't going to be Oprah.
And Oprah was Oprah.
All right.
It's funny because I said that, that's all up to perception. But then after the movie, I was like, nope.
Nope.
All right, folks. And that does it. And this is Lit Literature. And we just talked Wrinkle in Time. And I hope that if you see the movie,
you hated it as much as
if you see the movie, I hope that you read the book one day because the lessons were actually much better. And it really only took a few hours to read.
Yeah.
Also,
cheers.
Don't watch the movies.
We'll see you for Ready Player One.
Don't watch the movie and keep your young mind open.
Yeah, and it is true. Next up is Ready Player One.